difference between this review and most of the reviews that you're gonna watch, we've actually had this truck for 11,111 miles plus. We've done stuff with our Gladiator that's never been done before. We did a 4-wheel drive burnout. We've jumped it off of a loading dock. We've done some mild off-roading, some mild rock crawling, and all kinds of other crazy and fun stuff. We towed almost 8,000 pounds to Florida and back from up here in Michigan. It was a 2,400 mile trip. We did it in 3.5 days. Now, we do not recommend that at all because the Rubicon's only rated for 7,000 pounds. The number one thing people want to know is this a practical vehicle for a daily driver? And the answer is absolutely. I've had it for over 6 months now, 13,000 miles, and yes, this is my daily driver. I have 2 kids, I put 2 car seats in it all the time, and they fit perfectly fine. Now, there's not tons of room, but you're not gonna expect that in a mid-sized truck. With 2 car seats, there's absolutely no room for anything else. I highly recommend you pick yourself up a tonneau cover. You can get them for as cheap as like 160 bucks on Amazon. Of course, there's a link in the description down below for that. As far as gas mileage, depending on how you drive, it can be pretty good. Now, between 55 miles an hour and 65 miles an hour, with the 33-inch stock factory Rubicon tires, the all-terrains, I can get about 20, almost 21 miles per gallon. Even with the 35-inch BF Goodrich Cam 3 mud terrains, I've still been able to get over 20 miles per gallon going 65 miles an hour. That is amazing for a vehicle like this. Now, if you drive in the city a lot, or if you drive 70, 75 or faster, the gas mileage goes down really fast, which you're not gonna expect it to be good, but just to get that out of the way. Now, we're gonna have a complete full review on fuel economy in a separate video as far as what options you can get and what the prices are. Now, the cheap bare bones models stick around 35,000 and the loaded out Rubicons go all the way up to 64,000. Okay, I'm gonna have a completely separate video that's gonna go through the Sport, Sport S, Overland, and Rubicon, the highs and lows, what options come with those, and what the prices should be. Now, if you want to know how to read an invoice and you want to know what the price you should pay is, go to gladiatorgang.com/prices. That'll take you right to our video that explains how to read an invoice and what you should pay. It's really simple. Do not pay sticker. Everybody uses this vehicle for something different. Some people have no kids. Some people want it for hauling stuff. Some people want it for off-roading more than anything else. I use it for a little bit of everything. And we've put it through its paces as a stock vehicle, and it's done incredible. We love the Gladiator. There's a few things we don't like, which we're going to cover in a separate video, and there's a lot of things we love. This is what makes the Jeep Gladiator so unique and so much fun for the pickup truck market. There's nothing else that is a truck that can have the doors removed and the top removed. The other cool thing is the front windshield flips down as well. The front freedom panels don't need any tools at all to take them off, independent of everything else, and it takes less than 30 seconds. Now, the other cool thing is, as you can see here, I can actually remove the hardtop by myself. Now, there are a couple tools that'll make it a lot quicker that we recommend, which is in the links down below. Anyway, let's get back to the review. Now, a lot of people think that it's just a Wrangler with a bed on the back. That is not the case at all. Not even close. Yes, it's very similar to a Wrangler. A lot of things are exactly the same. Jeep has not made a truck since 1991 or 92. The Jeep Comanche was the last truck that they made. But the difference in the length is what actually makes the ride quality much better. The towing capacity is a lot better. The payload capacity is a lot better. But naturally, there's pros and cons to both. The biggest thing is, obviously, the longer the vehicle, the worse it is for off-roading. There's a lot of little things that make a huge difference. It actually has tremendous capabilities truck-wise. The Wrangler can only tow 3,500 pounds, with a 900-pound payload. And like I mentioned earlier, the Gladiator goes all the way to 7,650 pounds towing capacity with a 1,600-pound payload capacity. Frame is actually completely different on the Gladiator as well. It's actually an all-new lightweight, high-strength steel ladder frame specifically designed for the Gladiator. So it's not a Wrangler frame at all. As far as how long the Gladiator is, it's quite a bit longer than the Wrangler, and a big part of that is actually behind the rear wheels, which with off-roading obviously is not a good thing because you're going to have a worse departure. So a four-door Wrangler, also known as a Wrangler Unlimited, is 188 inches long and 74 inches wide. The wheelbase of that is 118.4 inches. Now the Gladiator's 219 inches long. That's adding 31 inches to the length of it compared to a four-door Wrangler. 19 of those inches is actually added to the wheelbase, which means just shy of 12 inches, 11.6 inches to be exact, is actually behind the rear wheel. But that's the only way you're going to be able to have a 5-foot bed on the truck. So there's pros and cons, but then you have the ability to do a lot of overlanding, a lot of different things that you just cannot do with a Wrangler. Now, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of Wranglers. I don't dislike them. It's just not that exciting to me like a truck is. I've always wanted a Wrangler truck conversion, like a Brute or a Bandit. That's always been on my dream board, and when the Gladiator, finally the rumors started that they were coming, I started to become obsessed. It has a third generation Dana 44 heavy duty front and rear axles throughout on all trim levels. So every single Gladiator is going to have Dana 44s. They're all going to be four-wheel drive. They're all going to be convertible. Now soft top's an option as well, not just the hard top. The hard top comes in body color or the black textured. Another thing is the brakes are a lot bigger on the Gladiator than they are on the Wrangler. The front slots, the grill slots, are actually a lot bigger. So like the little tiny honeycomb openings, if you compare them side by side on a Wrangler compared to a Gladiator, Gladiator has much larger openings, and that's actually so that it has better airflow. Something that you cannot get on the Wrangler yet, the Gladiator actually has what's called a trail cam. It's a forward-facing camera that's in the front grille. And it actually has its own little squirter too, like a windshield squirter. You actually hit the button and it'll clear off any mud or anything like that. Now my Gladiator does not have that. That is one thing I really wanted, and you might not know, but I actually ordered a launch edition Gladiator. Didn't end up buying it because it took almost 3 months after I got my regular Rubicon. But that was the one thing that I really wanted that we will add at some point. The engine in the Gladiator is the same as in the Wrangler. It's 285 horsepower. It's a 3.6 liter Pentastar V6. The engine does great. It's a great little motor. It's got 260 foot-pounds of torque. The Wrangler actually comes with a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo as an option, which will never be in the Gladiator because of the towing aspect of it. But next year, 2021 model year, the Eco Diesel is actually coming to the Gladiator, and it should be in the Wranglers before that. I don't recommend the Eco Diesel. I'm not going to go into why. You can get up to 33-inch tire, the Falcon Wild Peaks. You can get them in an all-terrain or a mud terrain. Now, as you can see, here's what they look like on a bone stock Gladiator Rubicon. This is ours before we switched it out with the BF Goodrich KM3 35 1250 R17s. We also have 37s as well, and then we'll do 39s and then probably 42s. All part of the Jeep Content series. Talk a little bit more about the bed of the truck. I have a 2006 Yamaha Raptor 700, and it fits perfectly. Now, I don't know the exact figure, but I want to say it's about 90% of all the motorcycles on the market will actually fit in the bed of the truck. Now, something that's really handy with the bed of the Gladiator is the tailgate can actually close about halfway. It's like a midpoint. And what you do is you just put the cables on the insides of these little brackets here. And then what you can do is you can take a 2x4 and you put in these slots on top of the wheel wells, and then you put them on the slots in the bed of the truck. And then you can put a 4x8 piece of plywood in the bed, and it's level. A couple different options that come with the bed of the Gladiator. You can get the spray and bed liner. You can get the trail rail cargo management system, which actually gives you these rails on the sides where you can have all different attachments. It also includes your power source outlet. Really, really cool. And then of course, LED lights as well. Now, when you get the trail rail cargo management system, you're also going to get the lockable cargo bins underneath the rear seats. And they're lockable, they have dividers. The other thing that a lot of people do not know is that lock inside the Gladiator. So if you have the doors off or the top off or just the freedom panels off, the rear seats, the actual back parts of the rear seats flip forward and there's storage behind there. But you can also lock those in the upright position, one on each side. It's a 60-40 split. You can actually lock those. You can lock both sides of the cargo bins, so that's 4. And then you can also lock the glove box and the center console. 6 different places that lock, which comes in handy because we actually had our Gladiator doorless and topless for like a month and a half. And I can't tell you how many times I had to lock stuff up in there. It's very, very convenient. And that storage bin in the back is removable, although I don't know what it looks like. Another package is called the Convenience Group. It's basically a garage door button opener. There's 3 buttons for up to 3 different garage doors, and then your remote start. Now, it was funny because people complain that the garage door buttons, if you shut the truck off, they're no longer active at all. And the reason why is because if you're parked outside, somebody could break into your truck, hit the button, and open your doors. Now, I think that they should stay active for like 30 seconds, just like the radio, so that when you shut the truck off, you should still be able to hit the button. The other thing is the remote start does not work when the doors are off. Now, that sounds stupid maybe, but here in Michigan, I drive doorless and topless a lot. It's cold in the morning sometimes. It would be really nice to start the heated seats and just get a little bit of air flowing and get the engine warmed up before I drive it. You know, I like to get the fluids moving. I like to get the engine warmed up before I just take off down the street. The auxiliary switch group gives you a 240 amp alternator, 700 amp maintenance-free battery, and then 4 programmable auxiliary switches. So like for light bars, rock lights, your winch, whatever you want, you can. They're all built right in to the dash, which is really convenient. They call it proximity sensor. Basically the keys, as long as you have the keys with you, the doors will unlock as soon as you put your hand on the inside of the handle, and then you just use a push button start. You don't actually have to take the key out at all. If you get that upgrade, I have it, I love it. It's so much more convenient because I don't have to take my keys out. When I go to leave, there's a little button on the outside of the handle, hit the button, and it locks. Heated seats, heated steering wheel is an option. I have it in mind. It's called Cold Weather Group. It's amazing. The main reason why you need this is to keep your pizza warm so that it doesn't get cold. Now, they are only heated in the front. Now, one thing I don't like is the air conditioned seats is not an option. Power seats is not an option. Now, you might be thinking, why in the heck do you need air conditioned seats? Obviously, it's to keep your 6-pack of brewskis cold when you're coming home from the party store. Duh. Heated seats in the rear is not an option, or cooled, which when you spend over $60,000, those things should be an option, and they're not. The fact that it's not a power seat, I don't really care. It's not a big deal to adjust it manually, but when you spend this kind of money, it's just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. I did not mention that the tailgate is aluminum and it's dampened, so when you open it, it won't slam. It slowly opens, and it's really easy to close. Same thing with the doors. The doors are aluminum as well, so they're super light, super easy to take off. Now, I recommend Arc Off-Road, either their door hangers or their door cart, because otherwise your doors are going to get banged up. Underneath the truck, high-strength steel skid plates help protect key components. Another cool thing, they have tow hooks on the front and back of the Gladiators, which is awesome. That obviously is going to come in handy. As a joke, when I first got mine, I hung a grocery bag from it because I use it as a grocery getter, use it to go to church, use it to go off-road, use it to do everything you can possibly think of. It also comes with Fox shocks, which is super cool. Now, that's only on the Rubicon model, and but it's just awesome. And the ride quality, like I mentioned earlier, is absolutely amazing. Such a good ride. The seats are really comfortable. I've driven this truck a ton, and I love it. Great quality. A little noisy, but not bad at all. Mine has the upgraded headliner group, which basically makes it so that it's a little bit quieter, definitely better with temperatures. That's an aftermarket option as well. You can get it through Mopar or through outside brands if you don't have it standard, and it looks a lot better because otherwise it's all the white fiberglass ceiling and it just looks cheap, in my opinion. When you get the Rubicon, you actually have the electronic sway bar disconnect. Awesome. You hit one button, sway bar disconnects, boom. On its own, you don't got to get out and do it. It's a really handy feature. Gladiator Rubicon, you're going to get the front and rear lockers. They're electronic or e-lockers, a lot of people call them. Jeep calls them True Lock. Oh, it can actually go into up to 30 inches of water and still be completely sealed, which is pretty deep. Also, the clearance underneath is 11.1 inches. That's pretty high. Of course, they also offer their own version of the tonneau cover. I'm not a fan of it. I really think that it looks kind of stupid how it hangs so far over the tops of the bedsides. It does have a neat feature where the rear flips only a very small section so that if you have something sticking out, it won't flip back. Other than that, it's not that great. There's much better options, which of course, if you go to our Amazon store, there's all kinds of stuff, different versions there. And like I said, you can get them for less than a couple $100 if you want a really cheap one, or you can get a really good one. At some point, they're supposed to have a brake controller. It's integrated right into the interior of the truck. It's not available yet. Something that I thought was a little strange is the backup camera is right in the middle of the tailgate. It's not integrated with the handle like other models, and it looks really stupid in my opinion. However, the reason they did that is because it gives you a lot better view of your hitch, or it zooms in 4 times on the hitch when you hit the plus sign, which is awesome. Another thing that Rubicon gets is it actually has its own special hood, which looks totally awesome. I love it. There's actually really no aftermarket hoods that I like better that I've found so far. So a couple things I didn't mention with the Rubicon is you actually get the rock rails. Those are in the center and in the rear. Now the ones that you can see in the rear that are between the rear tire and the rear bumper, those actually will hold up to 1/3 of the vehicle's weight. So you can actually jack up the truck with that if you need it. They are no joke. They are the real deal. They're awesome. They work very well. I gotta say though that Rockslide Engineering just came out with their own new Rockslider Power Step, and it actually goes in place of this, and it's incredible. Because if you have any type of overlanding setup, any kind of rack, or just you need to get in the bed of the truck, especially when you get bigger tires and wheels and stuff like that on it, this step is amazing. They also make the only power rock slide steps as well. I highly recommend them. With the Rubicon, that's a little bit different than the Overland and the Sport. The fenders are actually higher, so there's better clearance. A little bit different. You can't really tell unless you compare them side by side. Other package you can get is the LED lighting group. That gives you the LED turn signals, LED upgraded headlights, and then LED taillights. Now, if you want a better option than the LED lights, you can go to latemodellighting.com. Our buddies over there offer the Oracle lights. They're phenomenal. We're actually going to put them in our Gladiator. They offer the headlights and the fog lights. You can get the trailer tow group, which is a standard trailer tow group. Gives you a 240 amp alternator, class 4 receiver, a heavy duty engine cooling, and the trailer hitch zoom option. Now, if you get the max tow package, it's actually going to give you the 410 rear end, still gives you the 240 amp alternator, class 4 hitch, heavy duty Dana 44 wide front and heavy duty wide rear axle. So they are actually a little bit wider and they are thicker than the standard ones. As far as some of the safety features that are available on the 2020 Jeep Gladiator, you can get blind spot monitoring, which just means if somebody's in your blind spot, there's a little orange thing that lights up in your side mirrors and it basically warns you. It's got adaptive cruise control with full stop. Basically, you can set your cruise control, and as traffic speeds up and slows down, the truck will automatically adjust its speed, and you can change the gap by 3 different settings. In other words, you can be closer or farther away. There's 3 different options for that. I love it. I use it all the time because if I don't use cruise, I'll speed. Forward collision warning with active braking, which means if you're going to rear end somebody or somebody pulls out in front of you, it'll actually hit the brakes. Now, I've noticed it's really sensitive too sensitive, and it'll scare the crap out of you because it makes a loud sound and it slams on the brakes. You can adjust the settings or you can disable it. It also has a rear cross path detection, which just means, like, let's say you're backing out of a parking spot and there's someone coming up the lane where you're backing out. It'll actually warn you, and it works really well. It does definitely come in handy, so that's pretty cool. So overall, my conclusion of the 2020 Jeep Gladiator, it's a phenomenal vehicle. There's only been one recall so far, and that's the drive shaft. I haven't done it, not worried about it. I've really beat on the truck pretty hard and have had no problems at all. Literally not one problem. Now, in one of the next few videos, we're going to cover the absolute things I hate about the Gladiator and the absolute things I love about the Gladiator. This is just a quick review. There's a lot of information. I try to make it as quick as I can. It's just so hard to cover everything. I'm sure there's some stuff I missed. If I did, let me know in the comments down below. Please subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and let us know what you think. We got tons of content coming. It'll be coming a lot quicker. Thanks for watching.